Alright, here are the new Rumpelstiltskin pickups I got from Aaron. I don't know if you can tell, but if you were to look at the magnet staggering, these are opposite than they would be on a right-handed guitar. So talked to Aaron, he made these reverse stagger so that when I put them in the, he made these for a left-handed guitar, so when I put them in, flipped over, it'll be just like Hendrix's stagger, which he actually, I think, adjusted this side higher, which is the opposite of a normal guitar, because these magnets are lower. So it's a little bit higher on that side when you look at his guitar setup. He nails the ohms on these things. Let's see, put my meter on ohms, and if you read these things, 5.78. If you look on his website, these are the Gypsy set, and he nails this. I guess he's got it down where he gets them all right at 5.77877. This one is actually, let's see if you can see that. This one's 6.2, 6.27. So that's how you just put your meter on ohms. Check it out. So next thing you know, I'm gonna have my other guitar apart, and we'll put these in and do another sound check and see what happens. Okay, I've taken the strings off. I'm gonna salvage the old strings. I was gonna put a new set on, then I realized that, shoot, I may not get a good comparison between the two if I put new strings on, because those new cobalts are very bright. So I'm going to salvage the old strings for the sound check. Still taking screws out. This is the first time I think I've taken this pickguard off. So look underneath. Hopefully there's enough slack in the wiring to where I can flip this thing over and make it easy to work on. Otherwise I'm going to have to unsolder the input jack wires and shoot. Okay, here we go. Come on, baby. What's that say? Darn it. And there's barely enough slack to flip this thing over. Shoot, I don't know. Best way to do this, and there's no easy way right now. Don't want to bust anything. Darn it. Alright, well, as you can kind of see, my goal is to take these out. Nash neck, Nash middle, Nash bridge. And just take the wires, and wherever remove the wires, I will put new wires. Good thing is I have some of these tie wraps, so make it easy to redo neatly. Looks like I've got some ground wires that I'm going to have to get on there. See, it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. I forgot. It's going to be time consuming. Alright, I'm going to take the old ones out and I'll be back. Well, I'll show you what I do. I just came back for a second. I found this interesting. Jimmy B 10-2012, I guess he assembled this thing. Not sure what all this means. I think this says McClendon McClendon LL3PW. I don't know if that's a 3-piece body. VSN 10OW. If anybody knows what that means on Nash guitars, I'd be interested to find out. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm really just going to take the wires and just wire these exactly where these pickups are wired. I'm not real educated. If I wanted to sit there and trace the signal path or the electrical path on these things, I probably could, but just for simplicity right now, I'm going to just take these off, put the new ones exactly where the old ones were. First thing I'm going to have to do, you see I've got, thank goodness I've got these tie wraps. These things come in very handy all the time. I forgot where I bought them. I think I got them at Home Depot. Always good to have a few of these around. Getting low. But I'm going to clip these. I was going to try to keep them together, but it's hard to figure out where this wire is going when they're all tight like this. Alright, I can hopefully put these back together with the new ones later on. I'm going to try to keep this all in one assembly, but at least now kind of separate the wires a little bit. See where everything is going. This one's going, the neck pickup's going to this, the positive, and the negative ground wire is going to, alright, these things are semi-delicate. This one out of there. Looks like all the ground wires are going to the pot, the volume pot. So that's always tricky because if you don't have a big soldering iron, it's hard to solder onto these pots. But the good thing is it's already got solder on there. So I'm just going to solder on top of the solder and hopefully get a good ground that way. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is remove these ground wires off of the volume pot right here. And to do that, I'm going to have to get a solder sucker. So I'll go get that. Okay, I'm going to take this one step at a time, one pickup at a time, just so you'd see. If you're ever going to do work like this, you're going to have to get some tools. This is my solder sucker. I think I got this at Radio Shack. They have so many different kinds, but I actually like this one. Push the bulb in, melt the solder, and then when you let off the bulb, it sucks the solder up into that little chamber. So right now we're going to try. You make sure the tip is nice and clean and tinned with some new solder. I'm going to attempt to get this first ground wire off without removing too much solder. Just mainly want to get this ground wire off. Like I said, these big solder joints on these pots are just hard to melt because the pot sucks up all the heat. See, I got this is kind of buried underneath one of the other wires, so this is not being cooperative. Putting a little push, pulling on it, trying to get it out of there. It's not coming off, darn it. Shoot. It's sure how long this wire is. Apparently not melting enough of it. Sometimes, since I don't have that big old huge mama soldering iron, high watt, 140, 160, I might have to get 2 soldering irons. Actually, I think it's coming, or at least something. Yeah, the freaking cloth is coming off. I can see now they're all kind of wrapped together. Alright, they're all off. Hopefully I didn't damage anything. These wires right here are very delicate. And, shoot, that would suck. A damaged one. Either way, they were all twisted together. That's why they were so hard to come off. They just came off in one big chunk. So that's good. Push these wires. Push the cloth back up. Might want to check. Okay, I'm going to take this one off for the. Shoot, I really need a pair of pliers. Yeah, the solder sucker works pretty good on this stuff. Most of the solder out of there. There we go. Alright, one's out. And I think I'm just going to use the same pickup covers. So I've measured these because I had the adjustments where I wanted them. I measured them prior to this. There's a little rubber grommet in there. Aaron at Rumpel gives you all those parts, but I think I'm just going to use the same parts if they'll all fit together correctly. And use the pickup covers from the guitar. Those little rubber spacers just okay, I got that one out. Let's see, I got this one partially adjusted. I'll adjust them a little better later. At least it's in there. See the stagger poles? Looking good. Now to get, oh crap, these are actually, the wires are flipped because the pickups are flipped, I think. Alright, well, I gotta be sure I get these things correct. The white wire, yeah, so actually this ground wire is going to go to the tone pot. I mean the volume pot, and this one's going to go over here to that terminal. Keep these the right length. These are gray bottoms, the other ones are black. Gray was what was used in the late 60s, so they'll be a little more authentic. You can see Rumpelstiltskin Gypsys. Alright, so I need got some trimming to do on that, which I will do now. Okay, if you're ever gonna get serious about soldering, it's always good to get you a good soldering gun. This is like heat resistant silicone, so you can't burn the darn thing. Plus it's adjustable. When that starts flickering like that, that means it's up to heat and it gets hot very quickly. You always put distilled water in your sponge to clean your tip. I forgot, I think this is about $100, but I put it to plenty of use. It's paid for itself. So, the thing is, you don't really know where to adjust this. So it's at about 620 degrees right now. So you want to tin your tip, you know. Get some fresh solder on there. Okay, if you're ever gonna get serious about soldering, it's always good to get you a good soldering gun. This is like heat resistant silicone, so you can't burn the darn thing. Plus it's adjustable. When that starts flickering like that, that means it's up to heat and it gets hot very quickly. You always put distilled water in your sponge to clean your tip. I forgot, I think this is about $100, but I put it to plenty of use. It's paid for itself. So, the thing is, you don't really know where to adjust this. So it's at about 620 degrees right now. So you want to tin your tip, you know. Get some fresh solder on there. Okay, I just soldered that connection. And there's the gray Rumpelstiltskin. I do all the grounds together. One last step. So I should just disconnect these three so I can take this one pickup off. Yeah, I can do that with a soldering gun actually. Let's see here. Just melt it so I can get that out of there. Come on, baby. All separated. So here's one pickup removed. Okay. Make sure that's neck, so I know where these things go. If I want to sell the guitar, I have to put them back in there. Next step is going to be the middle pickup. Let's see, I got to disconnect. That's a yellow wire, and that goes to this terminal over here. Got a little bit of extra in there just in case. So let me. You guys aren't getting bored filming everything. Suck the solder off of this one. Alright, here we go. We're gonna take out the other pickup. Nice vintage staggered poles. That's one thing great about Aaron. I mean, I'm sure you can find the left-handed staggered poles somewhere, but I didn't. You know, people were saying, "Oh, you can buy them on, you know, this 5762 Fender custom shops," and they don't make it easy. I mean, you'd probably have to call on special order. But Aaron was the only one at Rumpelstiltskin that I found that actually just has it on his website, the staggering, what it looks like for a left-handed guitar. So pretty. Whole purpose of this is to get a little closer to Nash Strat sound. I mean, he didn't have flat pole pickups, even though I really liked them. It's not, you know, authentic, so let's go. This wire needs to go over there. Wait a second. I guess these are kind of flipped. Interesting. Alright. That one goes to that terminal. So let's run that under there. Like the other one was. A little slack so I can put the tie wraps on there. Keep everything nice and neat. Those two will go together like that. I'll clip that wire about right there. And solder it. Cool thing about this cloth wire is you don't have to do anything but push the insulation off of the wire. It just slips right on the wire. Stick it in there. Theoretically, you're supposed to have a real good mechanical connection as well as a solder connection when you do this, but I'm being lazy and just kind of laying them in there because that's the way they were. So here we go. Solder this one. But I got my solder. Looks really nice at ground. And these big spring-loaded tweezers to hold it on there. So, got all my wires in there. It looks pretty darn good. Gonna tie wrap these. Clip it off. It wasn't too bad. Trying to get it all nice and neat looking. Tie wrap this right here. Okay. And the other one. Get it. Tie wrap this one right here, this connection. Just like the original wiring. Looks pretty darn solid. Let's hope I did a good job. Clip those babies. Go. Look at that. Ready to go back together already. I cranked this soldering gun up to 850 degrees to get everything. Let's see, how's this go? So, everything's looking pretty good. Hopefully it fits back in there. I don't have any weird stuff going on anywhere. Look at that. It's like it was meant to go back together. Look at that staggered pole pickups. Nice, huh? I said these are going to be, this side's going to be higher. Since these are sticking up a little more. Let's see what we get. Right, there's not much left to do except screw the pickguard back in there and put the strings on and go do the sound check. Alright, I'll go charge this thing and get back to you. Alright, with what this is going to do is give me a reference point on the pickup change. This is the Nash. Right now it's got the Lollar, I think the dirty blonde with a special S. You can look up on Lollars website what they put in Nash guitars. This is a little hotter. I think this is more like 7.5 ohms, and these are 5.5 or something like that. Either way, I got my new Rumpelstiltskin pickups. So I'm going to do a plain Jane sound check between a vibroverb, and then I'm going to turn over here and go to the basement. I'm going to try to keep this angle consistent. And I'm just going to play with my fingers, and this is just to get a reference. I'm going to start on the neck, go to the all positions, neck, middle, bridge, and bridge on both amps. I'll do everything right now on the vibroverb. Yeah, that's the neck. Everything's all the way up. Okay. Here we go. Same thing, hopefully. This is neck. Everything's all the way up. Same string. Seems like the bass might have a little bit more of a hollow sound to it. Which is nice when you get it cranked up and get the fuzz going. No effect. Neck and middle. Forgot what I did on the first video. This is middle. Bridge. It might be a little bit less output. Well, I know the bridge pickup is, this one's 6.2 compared to 7.5 on the other one. Not that that equates to output. change to them, especially the bridge. Bridge. Same thing. Back to neck. Bridge. I got that bridge pickup raised up a little bit higher than the other one. Alright, it took me a little while to get this thing to settle down. Hopefully this battery lasts. I wanted to show you, see how I'm trying to get it to where the top of the base side pickup is higher since the poles are lower. If you look at Hendrix's Woodstock setup, it looked like he never really adjusted his pickups after he flipped it over, but he may have done that on purpose, I don't know, because of the magnet heights. But it took me a little while to get this thing semi settled down, so adjusting just a little bit. One thing I didn't mention that when I talked to Aaron about making the pickups, is that we didn't do that reverse wind middle pickup. I said whatever Fender did back in the late 60s, that's all I care about or want. You know, I don't want all that fancy stuff. And it doesn't really make, as far as Campbell canceling noise. I can hear a little bit more hiss, but it's not bad. And it's just like my vintage guitar, so see, here's the difference. That's the in between 4, 3, 2. I told Aaron I wanted them to feed back like my vintage guitars, and I don't know, it sounds like I'm getting a little bit better feedback. And a little bit more, they sound a little more high fidelity, maybe not quite as balanced, but you know, that's what they claim. The flat poles are supposed to give you a little more balance, which I can see. Maybe, I'm not that technical, but hopefully you got an idea what they sound like.